Hey, it's Coach 2K with Coach2K.com, and today the C2K Pacers open their NBA 2K 16 training camp. And more importantly, what we're going to do here, we're going to start a series on how to learn the game from scratch as a rookie player and teach you how to become a Hall of Fame level player in NBA 2K. So what I'm going to do is start with the basics, like you've never played the game before, and take you through the course of an entire season as the C2K Pacers. Now, there's my man Paul George, and as you guys know, if any of you follow me, I'm a dedicated NBA 2K Pacers user, and so that's the team that I'm going to be using. And we've had some significant changes this year, and so we're going to talk about those. So with that, let's get started on how we're going to go through this process. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a MyLeague, and we're going to set it up in online. The reason we're doing that is because I want to be able to reset games if we need to, because we're going to set it up as a ladder format, and we're going to play all 29 teams in the league, and so we're going to set this to 29. And then down here we're going to turn trades off because we're not interested in playing teams that are different from the ones that we start the season with. And then a little bit further down we're going to set the settings here, and we're going to set them at 12-minute quarters because that's what men play. And we're also going to set this to rookie level. And the reason we're going to do that is because a lot of people out there are playing on a level that's too hard for them. And so I'm going to show you as an experienced player that I start on rookie. And that way you can see what I do on rookie level and how I learn the game. Okay, so that's the MyLeague setup. Now I just saved that file as a C2K rookie ladder, and so after you're in there, then you got to choose a team. And so there's 30 teams in the league. I choose a team where I'm from and I'm a fan of, and I try and encourage people to do that instead of just picking an elite team. The game's a lot more fun if there's a lot more people out there playing teams that they're near or fans of, or that they just are an expert of. I'd rather play somebody who really knows their team, and so for me it's a no-brainer. I'm going to choose the Pacers. Alright, now once I've chosen a team, then the next thing I do is kind of look at the roster, and I like to sort it by position, and I like to have the ratings, the numbers, so I have a better idea of what's good. So like, here's everybody on the roster, starting with Joe Young, and this year we've got Monte Ellis. We don't have Roy Hibbert anymore. We got Jordan Hill, and so there's Miles Turner coming in. So these are all things, these are all players that I'm going to need to get to know. So the first concept I want you to really understand is that you're going to need everybody on your roster. So it's going to be important that you take the time to learn each individual player, what they're good at, what they're weak at, and try and put those players in positions to succeed. And usually what I do, I usually start with a point guard spot when I begin the year, and then I start working with the other players on the team. But I usually start with point guard because that's the guy handling the ball. And the other thing that I do is I always start with offense. So with regard to defense, defense is important, but at the beginning of the year I focus on offense, because if you're not scoring and you're giving up fast breaks and giving the ball up on turnovers, then it really doesn't matter how good your defense is. So once I get sufficiently good on offense, then I really start to focus on defense. That doesn't mean I don't work on it, but offense is the place to start. So you got to look at each of your players and start to look at their strengths and weaknesses. You can do that with all the ratings that 2K gives you. Now, ratings aren't the end-all be-all. You can do well with a player if it's not that highly rated, but just in general, the higher rated somebody is at a certain skill, the more likely you're going to want to put them in position to use that skill. But it doesn't mean they can't do things that they're average at. So ratings wise, I look at anything over 80 as good. Anything over 90 is great. Anything over 70 is something that you can work with. The overalls, the better an overall rating a player has, obviously they're going to be a stronger player, and they're going to have the ability, you can do more with them and make more mistakes with them than you could with a lower rated player. So start to think in terms of getting familiar with the roster, and that's one of the next things that we're going to be doing. Okay, the next thing in the MyLeague file, I want you to go in your gameplay settings and turn on all the on-screen assistants, and that way you can see what's going on. And also I turn on, make sure your commentary is on, and then make sure, I always pump up the crowd volume, player chatter, stuff like that just for fun. But the commentary here and all the on-screen aids are the most important thing. Okay, the next area in the My League, I want you to change all these manual settings in the coach settings to auto, so you don't have to worry about these things. And then turn on your play vision to all plays, and that way you can see your plays as they develop. And the only one that I'm going to leave on manual is defense, because we're going to play man-to-man defense all the time. Okay, the last settings area is the controller settings, and I play on absolute setting instead of camera relative. Turn on the on-screen aids and the defensive assist strength and box out assist strength. I want you to put that to 0 and the shot contest to manual, because from the beginning we're going to play manual man-to-man defense without using the CPU as a crutch, and the best place to start doing that is from the very beginning on rookie level. Okay, once you got the settings set up, the next thing you're going to want to make sure that it's right is how you got your practice modes, your freestyle, and your scrimmage modes set up. So here you can see I'm shooting around with Paul George in freestyle practice mode to work on his jump shot a little bit. But what I want you to do is to set your difficulty level and your camera setting on the same that you would actually play at. Now normally I'd recommend difficulty level be harder, but in this process we're just going to start with rookie, and so I'll go in and I'll check and make sure that I'm set at rookie, and then I always play on 2K cam, and so you can see here my settings on how I use my 2K camera. So that's what I play on as well. Okay, the other practice area in the My League file is scrimmage mode, and so you can play 5-on-5. And so I check out my camera, make sure it's on the same that I'm going to play at, and then also I check out my options to make sure it's on the difficulty level I want. And then not only that, I go into the coach settings and controller settings to make sure that those haven't changed, because sometimes in some modes those will change. So before you go into any game, especially if you're going online, you gotta check those things out. So here we are, we're playing 5-on-5. So NBA 2K16 training camp is now officially open. And so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to rank the teams from 1 to 30, and I'm pretty sure that the Sixers are the 30th worst team in the league, and they're going to be the first team that we're going to work on playing. Now, rookie level, it's going to be pretty easy to beat them for me, but if you've never played the game or you're trying to figure out how to get better, don't worry about whether it's easy to beat them or not, because we're not really playing to win or lose here. We're just playing to learn how to play and how to play the right way. So once we start with Philadelphia, then what we're going to do is we're going to start with the point guard spot, and we're going to learn the point guard spot. So that's going to be George Hill, and it's also going to be Joseph Young primarily, although we might play Monte or Rodney Stuckey at the point guard spot. It's just really going to depend on what Frank Vogel does in real life, because we're going to use him kind of as our guide, because one of the things that we want to do is we kind of want to replicate what the team does in real life. So we're not going to put Paul George at point guard, but it sounds like they're going to put him at power forward this year. And just in case you're wondering, it looks like they're going to run George Hill and Monte Ellis, CJ Miles, Paul George, and Ian Mahinmi as the starting group. So be sure and follow the series, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions in the comments, be sure and put those below. And in the meantime, open up your training camp for yourself, and then maybe sometime I will see you on the court.